is the driver deficit that we have here in Chile.
Okay, so we have to understand why. In my own country and in Europe, many of the drivers are 50 or 60 years old. So I said to you the future is quite easy to predict, okay? Yes, events happen, but the big trends are easy. This trend, this problem with drivers, we've seen it, we've watched it happening for the last 20 years. Why? Because if you look at the demographics of the drivers, we could see 20 years ago, many of them are 40, 45. Now many of them 55, now many of them 65. And we have failed to make it an interesting career for 25-year-olds coming out of high school. Yeah? So, unfortunately, it's difficult to fix a long-term problem in 1 year, because the issue goes back 10 years. So that's why we need futuring. That's why I come to conferences like this, to help us to think longer term. Okay, so now we're in a crisis. So yes, Patrick, okay, we should have thought about this in 2010. But what do we do? Okay. Well, unfortunately, you won't like the answers. I'll tell you what they are. We have to make it. Do you have children of your own? Yes. How old is your oldest? 5. Okay, not old enough to drive. Okay, put up your hands if you have a child who is between 15 and 18 years old. Okay. We have to be creating a career for drivers which will attract your children. And you say, I want you to drive. You won't be driving, you'll be managing the drivers. Of course, you'll be running the business. I hope, but you need to start off as a driver because you must understand what it's actually like. And it will do you good to be in the cab. But then in Europe, we find that there are no facilities for them to go to the toilet except in the cab. We find that sometimes they go hundreds of miles and there is nowhere for them to eat. When it's raining, and it rains all the time in Europe, there is nowhere for them to stand and exercise and stretch their back. After they've been in the cab for 12 hours, they need to stretch, they need to walk, and it's raining. So we need to think about the supply chain for the truck drivers, to think about how do we create a fantastic experience for them so they enjoy being in the truck. And actually, we're probably going to have to pay them more as well. Why? Because the truck drivers today, the M generation, those whose adult lives have been lived only in the 3rd millennium, so they're now 40 years old or a bit less. The M generation, they want comfort. They don't want to be away from home for 14 days continuously and be starving in a cab and then get wet and cold at night. If you want them to do that, you're going to have to pay them a lot. So it's a combination. It's comfort in the cab, comfort on the journey. It's looking after them as human beings. Remember, the future is not about technology, it's about emotion. We have to create an emotional attraction for young people to say, I am really excited about becoming a truck driver. I really think it would be fun. I'm going to earn a lot. I will earn a lot very quickly.